Hi, my name is John Whitehead. I'm an executive and leadership coach, and welcome to this week's video blog post. Well, we're halfway through the series that I've been doing based on Marshall Goldsmith's 20 habits that keep you from the top. And you can find those habits in his book, What Got You Here Won't Get You There. And in the last several weeks, I've been giving my interpretation to those 20 habits. And this week, we're halfway through and number 10, which is failing to give proper recognition. Failing to give proper recognition, not recognizing folks on your team for being on your team, for being part of the team that you lead. And that can be just a little simple thing, an email, a phone call. Now, as I record this, we're of course in about month 8 of the pandemic, and many of us are going into lockdowns. I know in Canada we've got significant lockdowns happening again. Businesses are pulling back, people are being asked not to go to work. So how do you keep those connections? You know, it was so easy when we were in the workplace, right? We could yell across the hall to the next cubicle, or we could walk down the hallway and pass somebody's office and say, hey, how you doing? Those connections were there. And in those moments, we could recognize something. Hey, I appreciate that project you just completed. That was a great job. Right? Something like that we could do. Right now it's even more difficult and maybe even more important to keep that contact. So Marshall uses an example in his book that he got from one of his clients. And that was, he said, think of a number of groups that you're involved in, different groups. Write down those different groups that you're involved in. Maybe they're social groups, maybe they're groups outside the workplace that you're involved in. But people in your workplace, which is what we're focusing on, right? Is leadership. Focusing on your workplace. Those groups within the workplace. List the names of those folks. Okay, list the names of those folks in your workplace. And then on every Monday and Wednesday, bring out that list and scan it. And is there somebody that's done something well, not necessarily spectacular, but somebody that has shown up recently? Send that person an email or a phone call and check their name off. And then, so on Wednesdays and Mondays, you do that. And you don't just, send a note to somebody just for the sake of sending a note. As he said, that's not really being honest with yourself. But throughout over a year, over several months, you'll probably have worked through that list and you've let that person know through either an email or a note or a phone call that you to thank them for doing something. Because when you ask executives why they didn't recognize somebody, often they'll say, "Oh, I just didn't have the time. Oh, it slipped my mind. I forgot about it." What that exercise will do, writing down the names and scanning those names twice a week, it will remind you. And if you continue doing that on a regular basis, it becomes a habit. And change is all about habits, right? It's shifting your behavior to create new habits. We've talked about that before in these blog posts. So you won't have an excuse anymore saying, well, I just didn't have time or it slipped my mind, because you've given yourself a process to do it. So try that. Set that up. See what happens. And if feel free to reach out to me with any comments or questions. Sign up for my weekly blog post if you haven't done so already, because when you do, and you go to the website at the end of this that I list at the end of this video, when you do, I'll send you a free copy of my book, Soft Skills. Thank you very much for watching this week, and we'll talk to you again soon.